And it's actually a fair amount of coins, so I'm thrilled to be opening this, and I'll start with this coin right here. Hey everybody, Christian from Treasure Town here, and I'm not in super fancy clothes today, but I'm super excited about this big package of coins that I recently won at an auction. I want to say it's about 1,500 bucks of stuff, but I actually didn't get an invoice yet, so I'm going to pay after I get the invoice, which is going to be inside of this package, but should be a really fun unboxing. I think I'll show all of it, unless there's any sort of secret wins that I want to keep behind the scenes. But anyways, I think this will be a blast. It's a heavy package. I think I won some sort of 19th century bronze sort of bracelet money from Africa, so that can be a bit heavier, but there could be some other stuff inside. I'm really excited. Should be a major collection haul, and I'll be keeping some of it for the personal collection, of course, so excited to figure out which ones those will be. And here we go. I'm super excited. This thing is a heavy, pretty large box, so should be a lot of coins inside. Gonna tear it open. And it was a little, actually, fewer amounts of items than I expected. So I got the invoice, and it looks like we're spending 700 bucks exactly here. So we've got this sort of strip of coins, which looks like actually a whole bunch, super old school dealer kind of a vibe. And I forgot to point this out before, but the coin that we purchased, or the postage that they used was indicative of an old school dealer move, which is to have the stamps, because maybe you buy them at a discount and then you use all the stamps from some like big stamp book. But I'll just pull this coin out at random. Old school Henry Christensen Inc. I don't think that that's the I didn't buy from Henry Christensen, I'll put it that way. And what do we have here? An 1838 5 kopecks from Russia, so that should be pretty interesting. I think it'll be a really fun hunt through the rest of this video. And we'll, I guess we'll just sort of go for it. So we started with this 5 kopecks, and I think that there might be a good bit of Russian copper in here, 1838, because I know I'd done some purchasing on that front. So I guess I'll just grab this handful of coins, and I guess we can work through it. Looks like we got an 1885 rubles from Russia, 1879, or not 5 rubles, excuse me, these are 5 kopek coins. Here we've got a 76 and a 77, so all in a row in terms, and it looks like right here we might get a 78 and an 81. So fair amount of these 5 kopek items, and it could be a consistent theme sort of throughout, but these are pretty weighty coins and interesting, old pieces of history. 74, maybe kind of putting together more towards a date run here, given that that's from 75. What's this, 72? That's actually kind of neat. 70, it looks like we might, I'm not sure if there's any key dates or maybe something that's missing sort of along the way here. There's a 69, but it's kind of cool to have the date set that this appears to be towards. So I don't know if that's a $15 coin or a 30-cent coin. Might have been a 30-cent coin at some time, but I'd imagine that the collectors would be interested in paying, or would be willing to pay a little bit more than that. Here's a 5 kopecks with the older design from 1863. I wonder if that was in effect. No, it looks like the 67 kind of has that more, late 20th century or 19th century look to it. Here, that should be 18. Is that 50 or 62? I thought it looked like 52, but yeah, that says 1852. Again, nice larger coin. That's really fun. And maybe this one will be kind of the same of an older, and that's kind of cool. Back there, it was $1.23 in 1972, December 3rd, 72, 5 kopecks, and here we've got it, 51 years later, and it's appreciated in value pretty nicely. That's an interesting thing I've thought about, is like, if you're a dealer, there's kind of an advantage in that probably your stock of coins, and it might not, you shouldn't take it for a guarantee, but there's a good chance that it'll go up in value over time. So here's an 1844 3 kopek, then right here 1851 3 kopek, 1858, 59, 68 3 kopek, 73. It says a best reverse, so I'm curious what that best rev, and I'm not, I guess it was stronger, and it makes sense because it's more of an ink use design. And I'm seeing a ton of Russian copper here, which is awesome. I think it's really fun, but at the same time, I don't want to bore people just looking at this stuff. So let me try to search through if there's some of the older stuff. Maybe it cuts off here. This says it's a dud, $7, 1914, 3 kopeck coin, and maybe it's the same design. It does look like it. Though over here on the 5 kopecks, maybe some of the earlier ones from 1832, 1836, that's kind of fun to see. And I'll take another big chunk. It looks like it could be Russian all the way throughout. And, if you don't like Russian copper, you may want to avoid those 5 or 6 listings that might be coming up in each of my next whatnot auctions, given that some of this stuff is cool and I'll be keeping. And this is really chunky, Russian coinage here, which is super fun. But, I also, unfortunately, will probably, for people who don't like Russian coins, be offering them. But I think that there's a lot of interest, historically, around these types of items. 1865, 2 kopeck. I love the older stuff. There's an 1842, and it actually looks to be in pretty good shape. And that looks like an old school coin flip. 1852. Almanzar's Coins of the World, Rare and Popular Coins. Nice little 2 kopeck right there. And I would love to see what like the world poundage would have looked like from, the mid 1900s when a lot of these coins. Take a look at that 1822 2 kopecks. How interesting, would have been being sold. So here's an 1817. I'm not sure, is that like the older design? I think I recognize that kind of a look, but such an interesting, and it's also like Russia was such a powerful entity back then and has had some challenges. Here's a 1781 2 kopecks. Forgetting what the design looked like. Seems pretty similar. No, that doesn't, I don't know if that is, kind of looks like 1814 when I look at that front of the coin. What does this say? 1781? Huh. No, and then it's corrected as 1814. That makes a little bit more sense, but lots of different designs and some chunkier copper. Again, it's really, I need to get more organized in terms of my buying, because this stuff I bought a long time ago, hadn't unboxed it, 1811, but it makes it more fun for me, to be honest. And then here's that 2 kopecks from 1801 with a little bit of a larger planchet. Most of this stuff is in pretty worn shape, but I would say it's also good enough for most collectors where they feel they can, have an interesting coin that they can appreciate the history on. Here's another Almanzar's old coins. It's nice detail. You can very clearly see, the date and the kopeck, how it says kopeck on it. So I think that this is really fun. 1842. It's just holding so much history in my hands. Makes it really, it's a fun way to collect coins. And let's see what else we've got. Some of the more modern ones, which are more familiar to me. Just, I've seen these a little bit more than I've seen some of the real old stuff. 1758, 2 kopecks. I would think that that's a different, yeah, that's really cool. That's like similar to the 5 kopeck, but just on a much earlier design. And that would have been, I think, Ekaterina. And it says that's from Poland. Wow. Super early stuff and very, very fun. Let's see. Okay. And then I guess if we get on over here, I think that there's some non-Russian stuff throughout the rest of this video. I know we've sort of gotten off to the races very Russia focused, but these were a bunch of coins that I wanted a lot here that says 1600s. And so it'll be fun to see what we get here. There we've got a Zealand coin from 1617. Wow. That's early. 2 stivers. Super interesting. Zealand is like a Dutch territory, so that's fun, and I would say pretty unique. Here we've got a also super early 1666 1/6 ore from Sweden. How neat is that? Again, not in the prettiest of shape, but still a very fun early coin. Here we've got a Polish solidus. Definitely paid more than $2 or $3 for this coin. And we'll see if it has, I think he said it had a date on there, 1664. Let's see if we can find it. There it says something reg. Maybe it's on the other side. I'm not immediately seeing it. Wish that's not a very, that coin will not turn out particularly well for me. 1614 8-sided Sicilian coin. Huh. That's not a design, and I dropped it. 1614. How interesting. That one's a neat pickup. Of Cavalli, Naples, and Sicily. Interesting. Whoa, what on earth is that? Like a fourpence maybe of some kind? And it's been in a penny, but Jacob the Great Britain 1686 fourpence. Unique item, kind of an oddball, but kind of fun as well. Here's a 1686 Vatican half grosso, apparently. That stands out as being something neat. And then Pfennig Scheidemunze, which means it's a little bit too, there's not the proper silver content in there, from Brunswick, Lüneburg, Kallenberg. Probably a pretty obscure German province. What is this? Here, a 1693, some amount of them in 1 Reichstaler, 1/24th of a thaler from Friedrich. Let's see where it's from. In Saxony. That's a nice looking, piece of kind of Billin silver. And it's pretty thin. Not much in the way of silver weight, but still quite fun. And then that is a Hereford. I don't know exactly where in Germany I'm assuming this is from, based off of the 6 Pfennig, but Hereford, something Stadt, I think. So the state of Hereford. Another early coin from the 1600s, absolutely. Right there, we're seeing, it says 1844, but that says 1623. I'm not exactly sure what, a 3 Petermanger from Trier. I assume that that's in France, but it sounds like more of a German Trielsland, more of a German coin. This one's also 1655, a Triermanger. That one has an interesting tone. It's like got some fiery blues to it. How interesting. Wow. That one could be a personal collection keep. I have to do a little bit more research on some of the areas that these were made in and everything, but that one is a it's a 1 Liard coin, and you can see Liard de France. And then over here, looks like there's, it's clearly quite worn, but you can make out the date, 1693. That says, 1693. Talk about a worn coin. I don't know what on earth happened to it. Maybe it was dug up after being in the ground for a long time. There's another French Liard. This one's 1698, presumably from a different Roi de France, different King of France, or maybe it's just a different portrait style. And that one's from 1654 to 1658. And they're claiming it's 1656 based off of the date, which I think you can make out right there. But that's even a little bit worn for me to kind of believe, if I'm being honest. Here we've got, that's a clear 1657 from France as well. So quite a fun item on that front. And then let's see what we've got here. That looks like a French King Louis the 13th, so that'll be older. A double tournois from 1640. They're claiming 3. I would just sell that as a 1640s. Though I think he only reigned until like 1610 to 1643, I want to say, because I think Louis the 14th is 1643 to 1715, the longest reigning king out there. Another French one double tournois or denier from 1639 of Louis the 13th. And maybe we'll have a few other French ones. I can flip it around here. We've got Henry the Fourth, 2 of those, and then a few other Louis coins. Let's take a look at what one of these Henry coins might have looked like. You can see the fleur-de-lis on the reverse of these, but certainly pretty worn on this side. And I think some of these coins are, I would say, generally a bit low condition. I didn't get a chance to see them when I bid on them. It was sort of bidding blind, but I also think it'll be good to provide some, budget items for collectors who are picking up a piece of history more affordably, 1609 on that one, compared to having to buy some very expensive coin. So that's that in terms of this little box. There's also this very heavy box over here, and I think that there's plenty more coins to go through. So I'm going to open this up after I take open the tape, and I'll show you what we got, including that bracelet money. All right, so there's still some stuff in here that I have yet to go through, but this is all sort of bracelet money from Africa. I believe it was traded in the 19th century and maybe early 20th century, but I think more towards sort of the 1800s. And it's like a proto-money, so there's lots of different proto-money out there. There's sort of Celtic proto-money. This one, I haven't seen one, where there's something of a, I don't know if that's a pebble or exactly how that was produced, but this is a little bit different from some of the other bracelet money that I've purchased and sold in the past, but, all sourced authentically and certainly interesting pieces of history. This, both of these, there's some break in the money and the copper that was cast, but they were traded, I believe around weight, but also just symbolically, and it would be a good sort of history lesson for me to better understand the specifics around how they were traded. Making a little mini volcano here, but an interesting, group of money that was from a different, interesting group of money that was from a much different sort of way that they were trading the items. And then let me open up this because I think that there could be a few lots of coins in here that I haven't focused on. And I remember what these were now that I'm seeing them. So we got a group of a fair amount. I want to say it's got to be like probably 20 or something like that of these posthumous Antoniniani with a wide range of reverse portrait. But Postumus ruled a Gallic breakaway empire. This was of the Romans. He broke away in about 260 AD under the rule of Gallienus, who was ruling from 253 to 268, I want to say. And this is from memory, so please correct me if I'm wrong or not doing it justice. But Emperor Postumus is his name. PF, it's like Pius Felix Augustus, saying that he's the ruler here. These are relatively lower, these were obviously dug up from the ground from somewhere, and these are a little bit lower percentage silver than some of the other posthumous Antoniani that I've traded, so they're much more towards like a Billion Antonianus. That radiate crown signifies that the denomination is two denarii, even though there's not 2 denarii worth of silver in here by any stretch of the imagination. That one's actually pretty pleasing. So there's kind of a range in terms of what's available, but I thought that I paid not well under what they should be selling for in this example. So I was pleased with that outcome. But these posthumous Antoniani always interesting, and they would be conquered back, I want to say in like 274, something like that. The other group of coins that I bought was something like maybe, I think 20 of these solid eye coins from Riga, which is like Lithuania or Latvia, but as part of Swedish Livonia. So this was sort of 30s to 1660 under Gustav Adolf, and some of these were under a different ruler, but I think most of these were Gustav Adolf. Solid eye from Riga, and so it's like early Swedish coinage. It just feels like I'm holding a bunch of treasure here. And actually, when I reflect on the purchase price for this group, I feel like I did extremely well. And then right here, we've got some interesting, this is not as this suggests behind it, but these are just 3 of these interesting Beethoven Notgeld coins. So there was a lot of inflation and destabilization in post-World War I Germany, and so there were different states that were producing their own, especially minor currency, and so these are really, they have Beethoven on them from Bonn, very well-preserved pieces of history. And then this last group of items is, I believe, no-date French coinage, and a fair amount of it's pretty early. As you can see, 1796 to 1800, 5 centimes. And so many of these, I just thought it would be interesting. I was able to acquire them quite cheaply. A 2 sol of Louis the 16th right around the Revolution, 1791 to 1793. I feel like that's just a neat coin, and when I can pay not very much for them, Here's a, yeah, 1791, 1792, 1793, a similar coin. I feel like collectors are fascinated at the opportunity. This specific group is all for resale, where I could maybe sell them for, just not, doesn't take too much, at the very cheap price that I was able to pick this lot up. Louis the 16th coins here, to turn a little profit on them. These are going to be 1791 coins, or in that date range. Let's see what this thing is. 1790 question mark. Also just an early French sol. But when I think about a drape bust coin, in this same time frame, even in no date, is probably going to be 20 times more expensive than this. It's tough for me not to be like, okay, here's a Louis the 15th, late 1760s, sort of right up to the revolutionary time period. It's kind of fun for me, even though, again, not super fancy looking coins. But that basically does it for this buy. I think it'll be a lot of work to go ahead and sell most of this inventory, but it is something, that's never a challenge that I've been afraid of. I'm always happy, at the opportunity to provide people with more and more interesting items. So very pleased with that. I feel like some of the highlights also, this big group of Antoniniani, I'm very pleased with. The posthumous coins are just not super easy to come by, and so when I find a group of them, I want to jump on it, even if, I just think it's such an interesting story to tell and have a very pretty one for my own collection, but excited to connect more collectors with, that small time frame, time period in Roman history of unrest. There was obviously so much unrest during that 3rd and 4th century, really all throughout the Roman Empire. So fun for me to show this off, and got a bunch of other incoming buys that I'm excited to videotape, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching the video, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to visit our website, treasuretown.com, to stay up to date on everything going on the channel and possibly get some great deals on coins and collectibles. We look forward to seeing you on our future videos, and best wishes until then.